The Cambridge Analytica whistleblower who revealed his former company's improper use of data from millions of Facebook users appeared this week before Congress. He told a group of Democrats in the House that Steve Bannon ordered the staff to study ways to suppress Democratic voter turnout and test messaging that dealt with Vladimir Putin. His name is Christopher Wiley, as I just said, and he is here now to discuss this with us. It's good to have you.
Hi, cheers.
One interesting political point here. You say, I say, Democratic lawmakers. No Republicans in the room at all?
They decided not to show up.
And how did you read that?
I'm disappointed. I flew across the Atlantic. I mean, I'm Canadian, but I live in Britain. And I flew across the Atlantic to help American lawmakers understand what's happened at Cambridge Analytica, and more broadly to talk about some of the security issues that have emerged from what this company was doing. That's a nonpartisan issue. I'm not taking sides here, and I think it's unfortunate that they decided to focus on diamond and silk rather than talking about real substantive issues that affect the national security of the United States.
Well, we'll deal with that in a later segment with Congressman Steve King, but I get the parallel that you're drawing. So let's lay all this out, okay?
Sure.
What did you see in your time there that gave you concern about wrongdoing?
Well, I saw a lot of things that definitely concerned me. I think, first of all, the primary story that's being reported, the misappropriated Facebook data, I think is genuinely concerning, and it's exposed a lot of issues in relation to privacy concerns and security concerns of this data and how it can be misused by foreign actors in American elections. I think looking at, more broadly, the relationships that the company Cambridge Analytica had, with various other Russian actors. You had Dr. Kogan, who is the professor who managed the Facebook harvesting program, going to Russia. He was working on Russian research projects in Russia on online trolling, which is concerning given the amount of online trolling that you saw in the American election. And also, this is a company that was in close contact with Lukoil, which is the second largest oil company in Russia, talking about psychological profiling, talking about data harvesting, revealing the fact that we had amassed this very large data set on Americans, and made it known to a company that has formal information sharing agreements with the FSB. So I think that's concerning. I think also when you look at some of the message testing that was done.
Message testing, you're talking about what Bannon was trying to test out in terms of softening up core support for their opponents.
So message testing is where you look at different issues that you may want to run on in a campaign, and you test the response and you figure out who's interested in it and who isn't. Some of the message testing that Cambridge Analytica did, even in 2014, so well before the 2016 presidential election, involved testing opinions on Vladimir Putin, testing opinions on Russian expansionism in Eastern Europe. Vladimir Putin was the only foreign leader that this company tested. And
as far as you know.
At least when I was there, that was true. During the extent that I was there, he was the only foreign leader that we had tested at the time that I was there. And for me, that's concerning. I think that when you look at what happened in the American election, and you look at the current investigation into Russian interference, this is a company that was making a lot of noise about data. The algorithms and the data sets that it had amassed would have been incredibly useful to a foreign agent if they were so inclined to use it. And so the reason why I'm here is to talk to both Congress and law enforcement, to make it to hand over evidence and hopefully that an investigation can proceed from that.
So what Facebook did and did not do and what they should do in the future, let's put that aside. It's important,
Sure.
Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
You could argue it is the most important, but it's not where you're most relevant to this political discussion. So we'll save that for another day. We're not leaving that issue alone. I promise you that. However, let's test your credibility, so I want to give you the opportunity to stand by what you submit.
Sure.
The criticism is, this was 2014. That's when you were there. You weren't there during any process of the campaign. How could you know what was done or not done that was right or wrong in the election of 2016? Fair criticism?
Well, let me just make it clear. I haven't claimed to know definitively what has happened during the 2016 cycle. I didn't work on the Trump campaign, and so I haven't actually made any of those claims. What I have provided is the evidence of what I saw during the creation and foundation of this company, and also, the general strategy that this company embarked on. And when you look at some of the message testing that was done, a lot of the narratives of the Trump campaign were things that were being tested by this company in 2014.
But as you know, or may have come to learn, Oppo research and message testing is not unusual in political campaigns. It is part of the practice of political science to figure out where is their strength and how can we diminish it, where is our strength and how we can boost it. Isn't that what was going on at Cambridge?
Yes and no. I think what is unusual is why this company would be testing views on Russian expansionism in Eastern Europe and Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin wasn't running in the American election, but for some reason he was a significant point of interest in some of the research. So that isn't standard opposition research. And so, and I'm not making any claims one way or the other as to how that was used in 2016. But what I'm saying is that, to me, creates a reasonable suspicion that should be investigated. And that's why I'm here, so that an investigation can proceed.
Understood. But I'm saying the suggestion that Bannon was trying to find ways to soften up support for Hillary Clinton, if he was, you could argue that's really part of the job of running a campaign. That's why I draw the distinction. Professor Kogan says you laid out the terms of the services that he would provide there, so that whatever he was doing, you must have been fine with because you gave him basically his job description. Is that fair? So
I've actually been quite open about this. So if you look at the testimony that I had at the British Parliament, I laid out what my role was at the company. I haven't hid from the fact that I played a foundational role in setting up Cambridge Analytica. I supervised this project. One of the reasons why I am, whistleblowing is because I think that some of the mistakes that I've made should be corrected, and that more broadly, how this company got set up, I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about because I was there and I saw it and I played a role in it.
Was your intent when you were laying out the specs with Kogan to get information from people like me that you should not have?
The intent was to get a large amount of data quickly. One of the things that Steve Bannon wanted was to have a data set ready for the midterms in 2014, which gave only several months. But in terms of my own responsibility in that project, I have accepted my share of responsibility. And let me just make clear, I was the one who went to the authorities about it. I handed over all of the evidence to the authorities. I reported well before this story was made public, worked with the British authorities to start their investigation. It wasn't Dr. Kogan, it wasn't Cambridge Analytica, and it certainly wasn't Facebook.
Christopher Wiley, I appreciate you coming on to discuss these issues and being tested on the same, because that's the way we vet these situations.
Cheers.
And there's more for this conversation to go forward. We'll try to include you in that.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being with us.